Welcome to Shocking History Photos, where the past speaks through images few have ever seen. These rare Civil War photos pull back the curtain on a side of history they didn't teach in school. Moments so raw, they speak louder than textbooks ever could. This is the side of history few dare to show. Scouts risked everything, riding ahead to uncover enemy secrets, masters of stealth, speed, and survival behind enemy lines. Meanwhile, local guides used their deep terrain knowledge to steer entire armies through unknown and hostile ground. This rare photo shows Dr. Richard Burr, an embalming surgeon, demonstrating a vital, yet often overlooked part of Civil War aftermath. It's a glimpse into the quiet work that followed the chaos of the battlefield. In May 1862, a group of Union officers' servants struck curious poses, one with a kettle, one mid-sip, and one deep in a tiny book. But it's the man perched on a tree branch in the back who truly steals the scene with his unexpected cameo. At Battery Rogers, this massive 15-inch Rodman cannon turns heads, not just for its size, but for the soldier inside it, proving just how big it really is. This haunting image shows the silent aftermath of sacrifice, soldiers who laid everything on the line for their country. This very field once echoed with gunfire and claimed the life of General Reynolds just days earlier. General Robert E. Lee stands with quiet gravity, his face etched by years of war and loss. His distant gaze suggests a man reflecting on the cost of command and the shattered cause he once led. This haunting image shows a Union soldier just released from Camp Sumter, his frail frame revealing the harsh conditions he endured. Andersonville became a symbol of suffering, where survival came at an unimaginable cost. In the aftermath of Antietam, a lone soldier stands over a freshly dug Union grave, silent, still, and somber. Just steps away, a Confederate body remains untouched, a stark reminder of war's brutal divide. Between battles, camp life was filled with cards, checkers, and letters from home, small comforts in a world turned upside down. In the quiet, soldiers found escape in books, diaries, and moments of camaraderie that kept their spirits alive. The modest McLean house became the stage for history on April 9, 1865, as Lee surrendered and the Civil War drew to a close. Within its quiet walls, a divided nation took its first step toward healing. Just moments after the screaming demons of the 6th Maine stormed this wall, the ground fell quiet. In the ditch below, Confederate soldiers remain where they made their final stand, frozen in the shadow of fierce resistance. Union refugees begin their long journey down a dusty road, their lives packed into a single wagon. Worn faces and wide-eyed children reveal the heavy price of leaving everything behind in search of safety. A line of battle-hardened musicians stands ready, fifes and drums in hand, pride still flickering beneath worn uniforms. Their music once stirred marching feet, now it echoes the resilience that kept spirits alive through chaos. The fields of Gettysburg lay still, blanketed by the aftermath of fierce battle, soldiers fallen where they stood, silence replacing the chaos. This was the somber echo of Lee's retreat, a chilling harvest of death spread across the land. Carver General Hospital, built from old wooden barracks, quietly served Union soldiers far from the spotlight. Though little remains in the history books, its halls once echoed with the effort to heal a nation at war. A Union soldier lies still on the Gettysburg field, his musket beside him, his final moment frozen in time. The violence was sudden and overwhelming, a brutal glimpse into the raw cost of that July day. General Grant stands in the wake of Cold Harbor, his expression heavy with the burden of staggering loss. Yet in his steady gaze lies the grit and resolve that would carry him beyond war, straight to the presidency. Major General George Meade took command just days before Gettysburg and led the Union to a critical victory that changed the course of the war. Though praised for that triumph, his cautious style drew mixed reviews in the battles that followed. Fallen Confederate soldiers lie scattered among the jagged rocks of Devil's Den, a grim name made even more fitting by this aftermath. The silence here is heavy, echoing the fierce clash that unfolded just days before. Confederate soldiers rest in shallow, unfinished graves. No names, no markers, just silence beneath the Gettysburg sun. These mass burials tell a somber story of lives lost and identities forever unknown. Amid the chaos of war, these soldiers found a moment of calm, lounging in mismatched early uniforms, likely from a New York regiment in 1861. Before the battles hardened them, there was still room for laughter and rest. This photo captures a group of fresh-faced boys in uniform, many barely old enough to shave, yet already dressed for war. Their youth stands in sharp contrast to the weight of what lay ahead. In Fredericksburg, nurses and officers of the U.S. Sanitary Commission gather, faces worn but resolute. Their mission was clear: bring order, care, and compassion to the wounded in the darkest days of war. Among the fallen at Harris Farm, 2 Confederate soldiers lie still, just a glimpse of the 900 lost in Ewell's fierce engagement. The ground itself seems to carry the weight of the 13 brutal days at Spotsylvania. Inside Harewood Hospital, patients rest beneath mosquito nets, making a quiet effort to bring comfort and protection amid the chaos of war. Even in recovery, the battle for survival continued one quiet night at a time. Nearly a year after the battles, African-American soldiers were tasked with gathering bones from the battlefield, an often overlooked duty steeped in sorrow. Their service went beyond the fight, facing both war's aftermath and injustice. At Brandy Station, this field hospital of the 1st Division, 2nd Corps stood as a lifeline for the wounded, tents stretched across the cold February ground. Here, medics fought a different kind of battle, one for every life they could save. The commissary kept soldiers going with hardtack, salt pork, beans and coffee, basic but vital fuel for long campaigns. Still, many turned to foraging or nearby civilians to satisfy hunger beyond the daily ration. As Federal soldiers were laid to rest in Fredericksburg, the staggering toll of war became clear. The Civil War claimed 2.5% of the population, a loss that would mean over 7 million lives today. Graves of Confederate soldiers rest quietly in Charleston, a reminder of lives claimed by a divided nation. With federal funds focused on Union burials, the South created its own solemn spaces to mourn the fallen. Side by side, these portraits tell a powerful story. Lincoln in 1860, fresh-faced and hopeful. By 1865, visibly aged by war and the weight of a nation. 5 years, 1 presidency, and a legacy etched into history. At just 19, Alfred Stratton faced a life forever changed when a cannon blast took both his arms during battle. His resilience became a quiet symbol of the war's personal cost beyond the battlefield. Soldiers worked together to inflate a massive hot air balloon, an early leap into aerial reconnaissance. In a war defined by ground combat, the Union's skyward innovation marked a bold move toward modern warfare. Amid the shattered remains of Atlanta's engine house, the Telegraph and O.A. Bull locomotives sit left behind in ruins. These iron giants once powered a war effort. At Dutch Gap in 1864, these African-American soldiers stood tall, some once enslaved, now fighting for freedom and country. Over 180,000 black men joined the Union Army, rewriting history with every step they took in uniform. Stretching across the Chickahominy River, the Grapevine Bridge stands as a feat of determination built in just 2 days by the 5th New Hampshire Infantry. From Bull Run to countless brutal clashes, the Fighting 69th carved out a fierce reputation on the battlefield. What began as a state militia became one of the most storied regiments in the Union Army's history. Side by side, these 2 men prepare for war. One a Confederate soldier, the other his enslaved servant, both armed but worlds apart. The master looks ahead with purpose, while the enslaved man's weary eyes hint at a story no photo could fully capture. April 12, 1861, marked the first thunder of cannon fire at Fort Sumter, where the Confederacy's strike ignited a war that would divide a nation. What began here would reshape the course of American history. Inside Fort Moultrie stands a hot shot furnace, used to heat cannonballs until they glowed red-hot, ready to set wooden ships ablaze. A fiery glimpse into the brutal ingenuity of Civil War artillery tactics. Near McPherson Woods in Gettysburg, the ground is lined with fallen Confederate soldiers gathered for burial. The quiet aftermath of July 1st reveals the staggering human toll beneath the battle's thunder. The transport steamer Bridgeport cuts through the water, a vital lifeline moving troops and supplies for the Union war effort. More than just a vessel, it was a floating engine of strategy and survival. A Civil War veteran sits proudly in a small cart, pulled by 2 loyal dogs, an unusual but heartwarming sight. Even after the war, resilience and companionship carried many veterans through their post-war journeys. In the fields of Antietam, rows of Confederate soldiers lost in battle await burial, a sobering scene from one of the bloodiest days of war. The cost of the battle lingers in the stillness, etched into the Maryland soil. On a field near Fredericksburg, wounded soldiers lie scattered as medics rush to tend to them after Chancellorsville's fierce clash. Amidst chaos and pain, moments of care and humanity break through the haze of war. Engine number 137 stands tall in Chattanooga, a symbol of the Union's logistical might, built for speed, strength, and supply. Behind it, rows of troops prepare for the next move, powered by iron rails and resolve. Beside their medical tent in Petersburg, these 3 surgeons of the 1st Division, 9th Corps, faced the daily grind of battlefield medicine. With steady hands and steely focus, they worked where hope and hardship met. Gathered at Army headquarters in Petersburg, these officers of the 1st Massachusetts Cavalry embody grit and discipline. Their calm presence masks months of relentless campaigning and the challenges still ahead. Once a center of unimaginable cruelty, the building at 283 Duke Street housed Price Birch and Company, an infamous slave dealer in Alexandria. By 1863, its doors stood as chilling reminders of the human cost that fueled division and war. Wading through the waters of the Rappahannock, these fugitive African Americans press forward toward freedom, each step a quiet act of courage. In the face of danger, hope became their compass across the current. An African-American soldier stands watch beside a 12-pounder Napoleon cannon in City Point, his steady stance a powerful symbol of duty and defiance. Once denied the right to fight, now he guards the tools of Union strength. At Rappahannock Station, the 50th New York Engineers prepare their pontoon wagon, ready to bridge rivers and keep the Army moving. Their work was less visible, but absolutely vital to every advance and retreat. In the bustling kitchen of Soldiers' Rest, cooks stir pots and prepare meals, bringing warmth and nourishment to weary troops. In July 1865, with the war ending, even a hot meal felt like a taste of peace. History isn't just written in books, it's etched in faces, frozen in landscapes, and captured in moments like these. These rare photos don't just show the Civil War, they reveal the quiet truths history tried to forget. If you felt something today, like, comment, and subscribe for more untold stories.